what does a treaty look like for you that is both reasonable and accomplishes what it needs to do?
The first and most critical thing is that it starts with the science. The international scientific community has said that if the global average temperature rises more than 2 degrees centigrade, we have very high likelihoods of catastrophic climate disruption. That's nature's line in the sand, and she's not negotiating. All of the other things, the political systems and economic systems and all the complex decisions that have to be made in order to achieve that bottom line are all things that humans control. So that's where we got to go to work. But nature's bottom line is not going to be negotiated. Number two is we need to open up clean pathways out of poverty in the developing world and in some places in the developed world as well.
And that's also generated some of the controversy that we've been reading about in the major papers, some kind of walkout by the developing world. Can you give me a summary of what's going on there?
The poorest nations and the small island nations, many of the African nations, have walked out and have insisted that what the developing nations have put on the table, both in terms of emission reductions and in terms of long-term financing for clean development, is an order of magnitude off base, just isn't enough to meet the challenge. And scientifically, they're right. It can be a tough political sell, particularly in difficult economic times. But the one thing that this conference demonstrates is we're all in this together. There was an Argentine negotiator who said at a previous conference like this, we're all in the same boat and there's no way half of it's going to sink.
Can you make any comments about what you've seen or maybe some inspiring stories about what's life like here?
Yeah. It is amazing that all over Europe, and particularly in Scandinavia, people live very nice, comfortable, attractive lifestyles with half the energy throughput that Americans do. And so, that kind of scale, we sometimes think about shaving a little bit off our energy consumption here and there, but by rethinking a lot of their systems, the way my hotel room works, the way these transportation systems work, Scandinavians are living a very, very good life with half the footprint. That's an inspiring model. Look at these folks going by on bikes. That's the norm. There's separated grade bike lanes all throughout these streets. And the one time you can get a dirty look on a street in Copenhagen is when you sort of bumble out into the separated bike lane without respecting the bikes. A big theme of this conference is the emergence of American participation and American engagement. The world has been crawling across a desert of official American indifference for 8 years, and that has held up a global climate treaty for at least since Kyoto, and we've known that we had a serious problem since before that. So the world is impatient with the lack of American engagement and leadership. We now have the prospect of that engagement, the beginning of that leadership starting to show. I had a Japanese woman last night grill me on the details of how the U.S. Congress works and, in broken English, how long it's going to take to get a real American commitment. So we're still not there yet, but the presence and the engagement and the face of American leaders who are determined to do this and who are doing it in their communities is a big part of sustaining the hope in the rest of the world that America is going to be part of the solution.